is the Colonel Rant Alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
For 5 years, 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada. Streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim. Today is May the 21st, 2023, and this is episode 311 of Workshop Radio. How the hell is everyone out there tonight? In just a moment, I am going to bring on my long-lost East Coast brother, who will... we're going to have a good episode. I'm not going to spoil it. Anyway, I'm just kidding. We're going to have a great time. We don't have a sweet friggin' clue what we're going to... No, we're going to have a great time. John's going to fill us in on what he's been up to, and we're just going to talk. We haven't talked in a long time, and you guys can ask questions. We'll chat about entrepreneurship, barrels, and everything in between. So with that, let's get some announcements out of the way right quick, guys. Time's coming up. What is today? Sunday. So 7 days from today, I'm going to be in Addy, Washington at the Thrivalist Fair. Tickets are still available. They are, these fake monopoly Canadian dollars, they're taking on par with American. So $30, I believe. It's 50 or 30. I can't remember right at the moment, for the entire weekend for a whole family. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to be speaking. Paul Wheaton's going to be speaking, and a whole bunch of other really interesting people you're going to learn from. So I'd love to meet up with you that Sunday night. So a week from tonight, we'll be sitting around the fire chatting. We're going to have a workshop get together, and I got a special little piece of swag for each and every person who meets up in person, and I'm looking forward to it. So with that, thrivalist.org, thrivalist.org. And number two, the Silver List guys, we are two things. First, if you reached out to me, I'm pretty sure I have everybody on my list, but if you want to make sure, just reach out to me again, because we're getting down to the last couple of pieces of silver available. It's going to be $100 for the 1 ounce and the half ounce. It's going to be sometime in June when we get them. I'll have some, as soon as I get them, I'll show you some pictures, but I'm excited. If you want to get on the list and get some, let me know. And finally, it's Sunday night, so we need to talk about one of our sponsors, and that is Amy Dingman of A Farmer's Kind of Life. This week's episode, hers was on first impressions. There's very few podcasts that as soon as they show up in my feed, I listen to them, but hers is one. Could be because it's short, but no, she just has this way of telling you what you need to hear with a smile on her face and making you feel good, kind of like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. She's just awesome. So go to afarmerskindoflife.com. Give her some support, guys, because she was nice enough to sponsor and support the workshop. And with that, let's bring on Mr. Bill Burr. How are you, Jon Dowie? Oh, you're muted on your end now.
That's I said, okay. Hey, man, what the fuck's going on, kid? Oh, you called me Bill Burr. I just figured I would go full Massachusetts and swear and ruin your monetization instantly.
Oh, that's all right. You know what? Lives are, they're a dime a dozen. They don't make a lot of money anyway, like almost nothing.
Yeah.
But they, and they're about 25% of mine get flagged for something or other. Not like community, I don't know, just add things, right? So.
Well, their thing now is you have that weird page where you have to select if you swore or not. You have to tell mommy and daddy if you swore.
Yes.
And then they can take away like, I don't know, Christian Mingles advertising or something. I don't know what they take away. They take away some advertising that isn't appropriate for it. But I'm like, it's YouTube and you're an evil, weird company like Google owns, right? This is going to get us banned out. and like, what are you running that's not going to be okay if I said shit a couple of times? You know?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Apparently, as long as you don't say fuck in the first 30 seconds of a live stream, you're okay. So I think we're good now. I think we got past it.
You had your intro, so we're okay.
I did, yeah. Well, my audio intro is 30 seconds, so that keeps me from cussing before, you know what I mean?
Nice,
it's like,
nice.
Yeah,
that's right. Your little, the song, the thing with the,
you like that?
The thing with the things. Yeah, I like
the
things.
You know, the intro.
Old radio. It sounds like old radio.
Yeah, I love it. I
love old radio. You want to talk about something we didn't talk about talking about?
Yes, let's talk about something we didn't want to talk, or we weren't going to talk about.
I'm also really bad at looking at the camera still. Hello, folks.
Don't worry about it.
Hey. So I did you used to listen to old timey radio like Great Gildersleeve and stuff like that?
Well, so yes, but of course, remember I grew up where the cold freezes your face. Although you know about that too.
I know all about it.
But I grew up listening to a guy. His name was Tom Young, Talk of the Town, and he kind of gave me some of his libertarian ideals. He just passed away a couple of years ago.
Interesting.
But his stuff doesn't exist online anymore. He you know how most talk radio guys get fired every so often?
Yes.
Just one of those things. Yeah. So he got fired a couple times, and then there was always a big kerfuffle, and they brought him back. But I think he finally retired in like 2005, and there's just maybe like an hour's worth of his content, and he probably put out 3-hour shows every day for 30 years.
Wow. There's got to be some dude that lives in his mom's, he's like 78, he lives in his mom's basement in Nova Scotia, who like recorded, he's the archivist and no one knows about it. There's got to be.
Because if I reach out to CFBC today, they'll just, they've been bought out by 17 different, I think they're all like under the iHeartRadio brand or some shit now,
Gross.
Yeah. But we got a cool email. So I shouldn't say we, Carrie Brown and I, we did a couple episodes on Art Bell and Coast to Coast.
Yes.
Which is, anyway, I only kind of recently got into him, and I didn't, of course, he wasn't much up this way. So this dude sends us this long email with clips. I haven't even gone through it all, but the dude used to, in order to record the audio, had his radio hooked up through a VCR because it was the only way he could get 6 hour or that 4 hours onto audio.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he has all this stuff. So any millennials out there listening to us, they're like,
what's a VCR?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the fucking 12 o'clock clock in your grandparents' house.
That's it. Yes, the one that winks all the time, telling you what time it is.
That's such a good way to do it because, like, it's funny. I was talking today with a friend. We had some friends over earlier, and I attempted a day off. That failed because, as you can see, I'm at my grow room, and not because of you, because I'll get into that. So we were talking about just the vast amounts of shit I've forgotten. And I guarantee you I've done that and forgotten because I used to be I would say I'm like an audiophile, kind of audio nerd. I had but I was also broke as shit. So growing up, so there was no me purchasing really good stereo equipment. Therefore, there was no me really learning really good stereo equipment, right? Because I knew it was just never happening. So while I really like good audio, right, and I know some good equipment, it's like it's almost like there's classes when it comes to audio. You have like that shit rack or like box that had everything in it, that's like the trailer park of audio equipment. And then you have like Pioneer rack system. Ooh, that's like your middle class audio system. I know all about that shit. Then you have your like whatever, Harman Kardon or something. TIAC or like the home. Like the guy that buys all the individual amplifier components and pieces that shit together, that lunatic, I'm not that guy. I respect that guy. I just think he's insane because audio can only get so good. Let's live in reality,
It's like the guys that drink wine and they're like, I can really taste those pine cones on the south-facing banks of the European grasslands with a westerly,
I have a word for those people.
Yes.
Well, three words for those people: full of shit. That's what I call those people.
Audio's the same way. If you can, like you said, you can only go so far with audio, and eventually your ear can't hear it. And that's so. I'm a geek when it comes to vinyl, but I just like it because I like something that I can hold on to. Yeah. Now if I remember, I watched a thing. The frequencies on vinyl are actually higher than what you can get on a CD, but your ear can't hear them, so it doesn't really matter.
It's 20 to 20. I think it's 20,000 something on the low range and 20,000. I don't remember the measurements. This is stuff you forget, right? But I kind of remember. And I remember being a kid looking at Crutchfield, I would just read. I would read Crutchfield magazine. It's a friggin' sales magazine and I would read it, and I learned in there that you can only hear it's 20 to 20. I think it's actually 20 on the low end and then 20,000.
I think it's 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. I think.
Hertz? Yeah. So like anything outside of there, like who gives a shit, right? And it was always a lot of that. Oh, it goes from 5 to 75,000. Like who cares? You can't hear it, And now I can't hear any of it anyway. But like in April or May. So like the date just passed. Okay. This is weird. There's a lot of markers in my life that you remember, I was going through some shit at one point, and the day I snapped out of it was the day I bought a record player. And that anniversary was like, it was like a 5 or 4 year anniversary of that day, like a week ago, because of stupid Facebook memories. The only thing Facebook is good for.
Sure.
Memories. But, oh wow.
Do you know Desert Ranger?
I don't, maybe. I mean, I don't know him. Is that his legal name?
Yes, it is. And his parents only live 3 miles away, right next to Pennywise. I mean, in Derry. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I live in the sewer.
Right. Oh, the underground. Okay.
I kicked Pennywise the fuck out. Yeah. He got nothing on me. It's
about time somebody did something.
I started that gangsta shit. No. So, I wonder where they are. That's interesting. I'm on Big Island Pond. I know he probably knows right where I am, apparently. So
you live in a houseboat?
I'm not good at what's it, like whatever security.
OPSEC. I know. Everybody says that to me all the time. They're like,
my website is my cell number and my address. I mean, get out of here.
I was on your website earlier to make sure that I kept you promoted, and I'm like, fuck, he's got everything on here. I can see all the restaurants that you supply. Yep. I'm like, man, if I wanted to hit him, I'd know how to do it. So.
Oh yeah, and I had like so my brother is a communist, and I still love him. And he's actually a communist.
No, okay.
Yeah, and he has insane friends, right? And I had to block him on Facebook because I love my brother. We get along wonderfully, right? However, I had to not block him, but like, when you shut down shit and you don't see it on your news feed anymore.
You mute him for 30 days or whatever.
No, I'd permanent. There's a way to do it forever. Yeah. So I did that to him because I couldn't deal with his goddamn lunatic friends.
Right.
And, but one of them was like, I'm going to come to your house. And I'm just like, bitch, I live in New Hampshire. Like, we're armed to the fucking teeth. Bring it. Like, good luck. If you can get past the dog, good luck. Like, let's do this. It was just so weird. And it's just like, I got to get off. That was back when, I don't know, a lot of people probably do this. This is a good life tip. Don't wake up and go on Facebook because it'll ruin your day. And
don't go on it before you go to bed.
Or just don't go on it. But I use it to sell shit. So I'm on there, obviously. But I don't know. We got way sidetracked. Audio.
Oh, whatever. You were going to talk about radio. We never even got into radio.
The minute you brought up the audio, I pictured RCA cables running from my Pioneer receiver through the tape deck input to my VCR. It would totally work. It's a fantastic idea. I love it.
Were you ever? So that's me. So I was broke as a joke for a ton of years. So I always had bags and bags of cables, and I could scab together anything. My son, he's 25. He calls me to come over and deal with his audio issues. I'm like, dude, you should fucking know this stuff. But he doesn't, and that's fair. But it's because we grew up with everything analog. Yeah. I always tell the story. The first year mom and dad got me a VCR for Christmas. What did I do? I went and rented some movies. I borrowed their VCR from the living room, hooked up 2 of them, and I dubbed all my rentals at home.
Yep. That's how I watched. Should we go back to old time radio?
Yes, we should.
Before we get too far down this rabbit hole, but we're going to come back to movies, folks. Don't worry. So I used to listen. So I worked in an oldies restaurant I was 15. It was okay. 94, I want to say. So I was the paper boy. I was the weekly free paper boy, and it was this big festival in my hometown, Oswego, New York. Don't go there. It's a terrible place. Called Harbor Fest, which is actually a lot of fun. And at the time, my hometown had the most bars per capita in the world, right? It was insane. It's a very small town. It's about the size of the town I live in now in Derry. And they had like 160 bars. It was nuts. Anyway, so they had this massive birthday thing, right? Every year. And I was the paper boy, and the dishwasher at this restaurant I delivered to had quit. And I walked in and they're like, you want a job? And in Oswego, New York, if someone says you want a job, the answer is fucking absolutely always, yes, 100%. Can I start right? Can I start 25 minutes ago?
Sure.
Because there are no jobs. So I was like, can I finish my paper route and come right back? And they're like, sure. So I went and I had 2 hours left. I went and blew this thing out in 30 minutes, made it in, had a job. It was great. But, that chef that I almost lost my train of thought. That chef that I worked for, older gentleman, had the life, had this massive long life with stories. It was really cool. He listened to PBS all the time because he's
sure,
he's a communist in the colloquial sense. So not really. He's just a regular old school Democrat, right? And he loved PBS. He would listen to so at night where I'm from, there was a PBS station out of Oswego, I believe, or right near it, maybe Syracuse.
Okay.
And they did old time radio back in the day, right? So at 8:00 at night, the dinner rush had died down and I was doing whatever. And I eventually was a saute cook there and everything. So wherever I was in the kitchen, about 8:00 at night when it was slowing down, old time radio would come on and it would be the Great Gildersleeve and it would be Jack and Benny or Benny.
Yeah. Whatever. I knew what you mean.
Yeah. And all that. And they're all spinoffs of each other, which is wild because the Great Gildersleeve is a spinoff of something. I can't remember. That was my favorite one. That's why I remember it. They'd have the one. See, I like the comedy ones. I never really got into this. They'd have the sci-fi ones though, like the War of the Worlds type stuff.
Yep.
It was wicked cool. So I actually went on eBay maybe and bought a whole shitload of CDs that they were packed full of those shows. George and Gracie maybe is one. George Allen or George Burns and Gracie Allen or something, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, it was wild. Anyway, it was really cool. I loved it. And I'm only 44. I'm not 144. So that's, saying something.
There's something about talk radio. Our generation anyway, because this is funny. So I talked to my dad. I really suck because I hadn't talked to him in a month. And he had a medical thing that he had to get looked at, and turned out it was perfectly fine. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot to call you. Tests come back a month ago. Everything's perfect. I'm like, okay, cool. That's on me anyway. But so we got talking about radio because I rebranded this to Workshop Radio. And I said, for me, it was, I'd always go to my best friend Danny's house. His dad, Dick, always had a transistor radio hanging out in the workshop.
Yeah.
And it would be baseball or talk radio. My grandfather and my uncle, they had an alternator generator shop next door. And the thing I can still smell the grease. You'd walk in there and it's, that. So the only time I ever seen him with clean hands was at his funeral, that type of thing. Right. But they always had CFBC with Talk of the Town playing or CBC, something like that. Dad he'd switch back and forth between talk radio and hits of the 70s cassette tapes. And so there was always, that was our Spotify, was AM radio. And I love it. I don't know. And I think right now nostalgia sells and everybody loves. What's your opinion on nostalgia, John? I have all kinds of opinions on it, but is it a dangerous drug? Is it a good thing? Why do we love it so much?
I like it a lot. I don't know, maybe.
No, I know.
I think it's dangerous. I think it's a great thing. I like it. I think it helps. I don't know. It's like a comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
And I think people cling to it. We just went through the thing,
Right. Oh yeah. The
Everybody just went through the thing.
Yeah.
And for a bit we were freaked out, most of us probably. And the nostalgia thing was a good thing to cling to. I think we did a lot of 80s movies during that,
Yeah.
And that's all. Now there's two reasons for 80s movies. Three reasons. Not specifically 80s movies, but one reason for older movies is because new movies are shit.
Right.
Okay. Number two is because it's nostalgia and it's it sparks whatever that is. And number three, it's because 80s movies also are shit. Just shit in a different way. They're cheese. It's awful.
They're what we cut our teeth
so
on.
bad it's great.
Right.
And most of them, not the classics, like Stripes, one of the greatest movies of all time. That movie's great. But we watched Zapped or something Zapped or Zapped 2 maybe.
Okay.
And don't ask me to. It's basically Weird Science, but not, But a Weird Science. There's a shitty 80s movie that's great because it sucks. You know what I mean? So there's all those ski school ones and like whatever, where they're at like a camp, any camp. Like they're we're going to a camp, insert snow or sun here. Doesn't matter. Right. And there'll be a weird Porky scene where there's topless chicks in the bathroom or skiing or playing tennis or something because they have to sell tickets to the movie.
Right.
And that was the only way to get dudes to go to these shitty movies in the 80s was because there's going to be, So and it was just excellent. Like those movies, the worse they are, the better they are. Right. And then there's that sweet spot of movies, probably late 90s.
1994.
Up through, Step Brothers, whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's twice.
Man,
Friday night, Step Brothers come up with Becky and I, and now it comes up between you and I. That was a frigging
always. I had a Volkswagen Jetta with a hacked, video screen radio. Not long ago. And obviously, because Step Brothers. And I had the DVD of Step Brothers in there, and I never took it out. It would just play whenever I got in the car. It was excellent. And that was a TDI, and I returned it with the DVD in the thing.
So somebody else got it instead.
Oh, no, it was like the recall, the Dieselgate. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Man, 90s. There were so many good movies. My all-time favorite's Pulp Fiction. I love those. In that I forget where I read this. I think they said whatever you watched and whatever you listened to when you were 14 is what there's something weird going on in your brain chemistry at that point. And that's kind of where nostalgia comes from. But it's what you're cutting your teeth on. It's what you're developing on. And it's the stuff you always look back on with the fondest. And
my nostalgia movie is Pump Up the Volume.
Oh my God. That, when was that 1990? 91, something like that?
It's older than 94, but 94 is, I was 15. And that's the age of go to school, early high school, right? Hate everything there. Come home, lock yourself in your fucking room, pretend to do homework, maybe get it done, maybe not. Get on the phone, with a cord.
Oh, yeah.
The spiral cord. Pull out your notebook full of friggin' phone numbers. Find your dial Matt's number, and pump up the volume on and wait for the Eat Me, Beat Me lady to take her shirt off. Once again, that's how they sold tickets, right? But that was actually a good movie.
Did you see they redid White Men Can't Jump?
I did not, and I'm not surprised because they just redo everything because they have no original thoughts.
None. Zero. Less than zero.
I hate everything about. That's why everything sucks now. There's two reasons. One, they have to pack the writer's room full of whatever they can't just hire the best people for the job. It's like the federal government. We have to just affirmative action hire everybody.
Diversity hires.
It's the worst thing ever. And then look at that 90s show on Netflix, right? That 70s show was one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. And then they make that 90s show. They have Red and Kitty Foreman, the original actors, playing their original roles. Everybody else sucks. And I
haven't watched it. That's why I was so sad to watch it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. It's the worst thing ever. Dixon Way's got it there with deep inside the smoke, or what is it? This is Shep Shepherd coming at you deep inside the smoke at Hubert Humphrey High at the end in this fucking fog. And I just love that his name was Shep Shepherd because then wasn't there? Oh, Shepard Smith was on Fox later, and every time he came on, I'm like, it's Shep Shepherd.
Shep Shepherd. Did you see? So are you? Kind of go around the boat. Did you watch F is for Family, Bill Burr's?
It's one of the greatest
it is
adult.
So what about King of the Hill? Are you a King of the Hill fan?
So King of the Hill's funny. I watched it in the beginning. I don't remember much of it. It got annoying to me, and I stopped watching it. It was probably a me thing though. Like it's one of those ones I keep going. I got to go back and watch. I don't know where it streams. I got to go back and watch it because I think I would like it now.
So same with me. In the 90s, if you asked me to pick my favorite animated show, it would have been The Simpsons. It would have been South Park. It would have been Beavis and Butthead. King of the Hill would have been dead last because I don't think it was for kids or even teens. I think it was more geared toward adults.
Yeah, I think so. Because most of the jokes are like Boomhauer and them are sitting around drinking beers, and it's not relatable when you're 15.
No,
it seems the slapstick part of that is funny. But it's over your head,
because you don't appreciate it. You don't like So I've been rewatching it with my daughters, and I have to explain everything to them. They're like, what's Cotton, the grandfather? Charlotte's like, why is he such a shitty dad? And I'm like, that's just how they were in the 90s and the 70s. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, there was a lot of people like that, and
and that's F is for Family.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that might as well be a documentary.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Threw you through the fucking wall.
Yeah. It's so good, though. And it's like, I know people that can't watch it because they had those parents that were a little too far,
Yes.
And some people just are like, I can't watch that show. I had a moment watching. Have you ever watched? Oh, fuck, is it called? With Louis C.K.'s. Louis C.K. made a show. It's about him and Steve Buscemi own a bar together because their dad died. It's so good. It's probably called Louis or something. No, it's not. That was his other show, right? Someone will say it maybe, but it was so good. And there's a scene where the
Horace and Pete.
What's that again?
Horace and Pete.
Yep, Horace and Pete. That's the name of the bar too. Horace and Pete.
Okay.
Everyone's in it. First of all, cameo wise, outstanding too. I mean, so Louis C.K.'s he's a New York comic, I think, but he's originally from Boston, but moved maybe or something. But they're all very tied in to the Boston comedy scene, which is the best comedy scene in the history of comedy, frankly, from the 80s and 90s. So like Stephen Wright's in it. Like he's a bar guest. Like a lot of these guys are and some of the guys that aren't, what the hell's his name? Oh God, he's a New York comic and he's a Republican and he's older looking. I don't know, but I think Colin Quinn might be in it too. But anyway, there's a lot of these guys in it and it's so good. But there's one scene where, so like I grew up with a brother and a sister and my dad, and they would fight. I mean, F is for Family fight, right?
Right.
And I was 10 years younger than my brother and 13 years younger than my sister, right? And they had a much different childhood than me. So they would go at it, right? And it was, frankly, it was traumatic. So, I'm 5 or something.
Oh.
There's a scene in that movie, right, where brother and sister are up in the apartment and they're fighting.
Okay.
And it fucked me up.
Really?
Like, tears. Like it fucked me up. It was exactly that feeling, which it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? It just was like, oh my God, and I was watching it alone and holy shit. But man, if like a show like that can move you like that, you're not going to get that from that 90s show. That flaming pile of shit won't evoke. The only emotion that will evoke from me is pure fucking rage for the annoyance of writers' rooms. I'm glad they're all on strike because they all suck. They should just all be fired. It's worst.
It's just so bland.
Yeah.
You ever, okay. You go and eat Chinese food, fills you up. 10 minutes later, you're fucking hungry, right? That's what modern movies feel like to me. A lot of them anyway. It's like there's the odd one that I still enjoy. And, comedy. We're talking about comedy there. It's got to be a tough. So I'm trying to think of who I watched the other night. There was a lady, she was a comedian. She was being interviewed and she made a joke about how she wanted, the whole Bud Light controversy and whatever. And she was saying how, why that Dylan Mulvaney didn't get himself boobs or something. And her joke was, if I was going to get a change, I'd have a member about 12 inches long. She's being hilarious, right?
Yeah.
And somebody jumped up and got super offended, called her transphobe and ran out the door. And I'm like, the worst you used to have to deal with was a drunk heckler. Yeah. And now it's, the person, when they left, they pushed all of her merchandise on the floor. Like she said she was kind of scared to leave afterwards.
Yeah. Because those people are fucking not stable. And that's
right. No, they're not.
Yeah. I know I come off as unstable.
Sure.
But I'm peaceful generally.
Yes.
Towards other people. There's one word for it now, for all this now. It's the writing and the whatever, safe.
Sure. Yes.
Everything they do has got to be safe.
Lukewarm.
And I mean like safe to keep their jobs and safe for the pussies that consume it and safe, just in general, just safe. And it's like nothing about safe is ever funny or entertaining.
No, it can't be by its nature. Go ahead.
What's safe? A fucking smoke detector? Sit in your house and watch a smoke detector all day. See how entertained you are. It's the worst thing ever. So I don't know. It's probably a shitty analogy, but
no, but so
I'm
the
not
best
an analogy machine.
the best jokes in the world, the best joke are the ones that surprise you. The ones that, because that the shock part of it, so whether it's a shock in content or a shock in holy shit, I didn't see that coming, Norm Macdonald, I mean, he's my favorite, all-time favorite. It's probably because he's Canadian, but he would fucking ramble on for 23 minutes and get to the end, and you're like, only he could make that hilarious, because you've never seen it coming.
So you've seen Dirty Work then?
Oh yes, many years ago.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what was the point of all this? Movies, we were talking
comedy,
about
safe
comedy. I just bought tickets to see last night when I was half buzzed at a cover band show. I should not have went. I needed to get a shitload of work. That's why I'm here tonight. Other than this, I needed to get like 6 hours of planting done last night. I did like 45 minutes of planting, and I was like, it's a whole thing. I have no balance in my life right now, like work,
I understand.
Whatever balance. It's just work, and I was rebelling against myself. I was like, I'm gonna go, and I went, and then I was gonna just go and have a few beers and leave a little early and come back and work. Instead, I started talking to some dude about Led Zeppelin cover bands and other stuff, and I ended up drinking like 9 beers or something. And then I tried to work after that, and it was just a fucking nightmare. So couldn't do it. Basically, slept on the couch here for a little while. So I what was I getting? I bought tickets. I was in intermission. I was on the Facebook, which is the one thing it's good for.
Yes.
Is it'll alert you of shit that's happening, right? So there's a comedy show up here. It's going to be Jim Norton, who's, if you want shocking, Jim Norton. Bert Kreischer. It's his tour, right?
Okay.
I haven't really watched any of his stuff. I know of him, and it's Big J Okerson's going to be at it. It's going to be really good. I spent way too much money on tickets because I had a half a buzz, and but it's in a theater. It's an amphitheater, outdoor amphitheater.
Oh,
I've never seen a comedy show in a big venue. I'm not usually a fan of big venue, So I overspent on tickets so I could be in the 13th row. So it is.
Did you pick 13 because that's a lucky number, or just because it's close?
Best available.
Yeah,
it was the closest. Yeah. I don't know.
We just bought tickets to Bill Burr. And again, because I was on Facebook and there was the ad, hey, Bill Burr's coming to fucking Edmonton. I'm like,
yeah.
And what I think we might have talked about this, but we haven't on air.
I can't get tickets here.
Right.
For Bill Burr because he's from Boston.
Sells out that fast.
Yeah. And it's big venues in Massachusetts for big events. It's just like, yeah, okay, let me just sell my kid. And then maybe I can afford a ticket in the fucking bathroom, So like, it's not, I don't even bother. It's not worth it. Your best bet around here at that is StubHub 25 minutes before the doors open.
Right.
For some sap that couldn't make it or whatever. So
that's the equivalent of when you used to go up to the game at gate time and hope that the fucking scalper wasn't going to give you a fake ticket.
Yeah. So I cut you off. You were talking about Bill Burr.
Oh yeah. Anyway, it's an outdoor venue as well. And that's the thing I wanted to mention. He has a no cell phone policy, which I think is fucking cool.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it has to do with paying attention, but it probably has to do with stealing jokes too, or recording shit,
I think it mostly comes from the piece of shit that was recording Louis C.K. when he was trying to work new material out on his way back and kept releasing stuff. Or it happened like twice, I think, where Louis C.K. was at the Comedy Cellar working out new material after he'd been banned or whatever, canceled. And he said some shit that was shocking, and someone recorded it out of context, and also it's a joke in development, and stuck it out there on social media, and he got heat. So a lot of comedians, including him, because I just went to see him last summer with Sean Mills, and they basically they didn't collect your phone, which is good because I have fucking type 1 diabetes and it's my glucose monitor. So like they didn't take my phone, which was nice. But if you were looking at it, the usher would come up and go, "Hey, put that away." And I'm like, that's fine, whatever. But I didn't know Bill Burr. Does Bill Burr? There's no way he collects, right? Because there's 10,000.
They give you a bag. So you have to put it in a bag.
Souvenir bag.
Yeah. So either you leave it in the fucking car or you
Yeah.
go there, they lock it. They have a master key to open your bag or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And then when you leave, you can open it up again, which
No
I'm
shit.
fucking cool with because you get to
Yeah.
make your choice, right? If you want to go, you go. And if you don't, you don't.
Yeah, I got to just carry my my shitty this with me. Just walk in with this thing in my pocket.
Just to be safe, you know?
Finger pricks. Yeah, right. Well, because when my issue is like I can go all day without doing anything to my blood sugar if I, generally because I manage it so tight. But when I'm out at a show, there's going to be beers and there's going to be junk food sometimes, and so it's the worst possible combination for me, to be like,
and
I
there may
can't
be
look at this thing and I'm gonna drink a fucking chocolate stout tonight, or something like, which I don't do anymore anyway. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there might be rules. I don't know, but that's
medical device maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't tried, and I'm not the guy that will. I just fucking deal with it. So oh shit, I just had fucking wicked deja vu. It was wild. I looked at a comment.
Yep.
By
George Carlin
S14 down here. No, in the comments on StreamYard. And you said something. Yeah, that one. And I don't even know why. And I just had like massive deja vu. Anyway, I don't believe in that shit, but it happens. Or I don't believe in some weird cosmic thing. I'm also not saying it isn't because I'm very agnostic about everything. So Bill Burr, can I ask?
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you what you paid.
Oh,
where are you sitting?
We're close. Like, so there's tables.
Were you over 200 a ticket to get that close?
I think so. I think 250 maybe.
You might be in the same realm as us. He might just cost that much right now.
I think so. We're like they're like tables. It's like tables of 8.
Oh,
and
cool.
They're on the ground and they're so we're pretty close. We wanted to, and I'm like, I couldn't believe Becky said she'd go, but I was like, hey hon, you remember F is for Family? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, we'll go, honey.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy. And she went, oh, the guy with the long hair that's the neighbor?
Yeah, that's him. Yes.
That guy.
The one that's like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I didn't pay. I paid like $115 or something per ticket last night.
Everything fucking costs up here though. Like
Yeah, I forget about that too.
Yeah. I mean, just add 30% for exchange rate. God
damn it. Yeah, brutal. I don't know. Man, I remember I went up there to that place once. I went to Toronto when I was
once is enough.
15 or something to see Nolan Ryan. I might have told this on your show once.
No, I don't think so. Or maybe you did, but anyway, tell it again. I love Nolan Ryan.
I was a huge Nolan Ryan fan when I was a kid. He was with the Rangers and they were playing the Blue Jays, and he maybe retired like a year or two later.
Did he throw a fucking no-hitter that game?
Not the game I was at. He was injured in the game I was at. So he was supposed to, we figured out, like, how you can look at the rotation back then and predict better, every 4 games or whatever it was. And we kind of worked it out to where we were like, we think he'll pitch this game, right? And my parents bought tickets, which was a big deal because we were wicked broke, and drove up there, whatever, spent the night in a hotel in Toronto, also a big deal. And then my mom wanted to eat dinner at some shitty spaghetti factory or something. And,
they are shitty. But anyway, yep.
Well, back then it was high end, and I'm like, high end. I worked at the Italian fucking restaurant at this point. And I'm just like, no, this is dog shit. So we were late because of that, right? Because my mom wanted to get food, and because we were so broke, she wanted to take her leftovers with her, even though we were going to a baseball game. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. And she's like, I'm not leaving food. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm only 15, so whatever. So we were late to the game by like an inning, not that big of a deal, except for that we sat down and we knew he was injured, right? So he wasn't going to play, but obviously he was going to be with the team most likely. And he was there, and I got there and I sat down and I got my Texas Rangers hat on, and the guy next to me goes, oh, you're a Rangers fan? And I go, I'm a Nolan Ryan fan. And he goes, oh, you missed it right before the game. He was up signing autographs for everybody and meeting people. Taking pictures. So I missed that shit. And then I was like, oh, really? Like, so bummed out, And then he was in the dugout, obviously. And or whatever, the pitchers, whatever the fuck that's called.
Yeah, the bullpen.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I don't watch it anymore because they allow cheating. So he was in the bullpen, and something my dad was talking to me or something, and I was looking this way, and the Megatron whatever TV thing was up over here. And then they panned over to him, and he stood up and started waving, and I was looking the other way, and my dad went, "Oh, look, there he is." And I looked back, and it was gone. I didn't see Nolan Ryan once.
Oh,
not even on the TV screen. And cuz spaghetti, god damn it. Anyway, so that was my trip to see Nolan Ryan. Very, very horribly uneventful. And then swore to myself, because when he was going to the Hall of Fame, I was going to be, old enough to like go to that on my own. And I was like, I'm going to go see him get in the Hall of Fame. It's not far from where I grew up, and I was living in Massachusetts by then, and I was like, it wouldn't have been far. And then I went through a streak. I was living with this girl and her kid, and we were so broke, right?
Aww.
We lived in an apartment. We had no furniture. We slept on an air mattress. We had a TV VCR combo. Remember those?
I sure do.
And that was it. That was our entertainment. We ran a 99-cent movie and get a bacon and onion pizza. And it was like $8 total. And that was our entertainment every week, one day, right? That was it. And I didn't eat. Like, she had a baby. And I would, he had WIC, and I was a line cook, and I'd bring home a hamburger every night, and I'd give it to her, right? That was my employee meal, and she would eat that, and the baby had WIC, and I just fucking never ate. I drank milk. But the baby didn't drink a lot of milk, so I drank milk. That's like what I had. But it was a shitty time. And then one night, so we had the rabbit ears, right?
Yeah.
And one night I'm laying there after a long shift, and I'm watching like the 11 o'clock news or whatever. And the sports segment comes on, and it's like, Nolan Ryan inducted into the Hall of Fame today. I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, I'm doomed to never see this guy, And I still haven't. I've never seen him.
Was it
I should go see him on purpose when I go to Texas again. But
was it 1991? Do you remember? Do you know the year?
For when I went
to Toronto?
I feel like I was older. No, I definitely was at least okay. I was summer youth employment age. Do you know what that is? Like when you work in the summer at like the high school, like
I did. Yeah.
And shit. Yeah. I was that age. I don't know.
Because I had to look it up because I knew so when he was with Texas, he hit the Blue Jays in 1991. It was his last no-hitter, but it was in fucking Texas. It was May of 91.
I didn't know that was the Blue Jays. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. It was.
Did you watch the documentary, his documentary on Netflix?
No.
It's so good.
He was insane. What is he? He's got the most walks too, doesn't he?
I think so. Yeah. Well, you have to. I mean,
yeah, sure you do.
Come on. Although the ratio is like, if you did a percentage move on it, it's not good.
No.
But I watched it with my wife, and I sat there next to her going, oh, and then this happened. And then that, and then he did this. Oh, and watch this. He's going to beat the shit out of this guy. That was the best
Robin
part.
Ventura.
Yeah. It comes up, and he's like, they're like, and then the biggest highlight most people remember was one night versus who's the Brewers or some shit. And I was
White
like,
Sox, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I go, oh, he's going to beat the shit out of Robin Ventura now. And she's like, what? I'm like, oh, wait and see. This is amazing. Who the fuck charges like the greatest pitcher of all time who throws right-handed? It's like, why don't you just fight Muhammad Ali?
But he was fucking 45 at the time. I think.
But that fucking arm coming at you.
Because he
was 100 miles an hour still,
It was a headlock, wasn't it? Beating on his head. Yeah,
he got him in left arm headlock, bam, and just a couple like kind of headlock uppercuts. And you saw the blood pour out. And it was the greatest moment in baseball history. It was
awesome. We were lucky we got to see, for me in hockey, do you remember Guy Lafleur? A real hockey guy at all?
That's the most fucking Canadian thing I've ever heard in my life, what you just said.
Yeah, because
I know who he is. I'm just messing. Yeah, it's just you should just always say, "Do you want to hear something Canadian?" What? Guy Lafleur.
Guy Lafleur.
It's just the most Canadian shit ever.
Because he came back, right? He was fucking ancient, and he was playing. What's that?
Is he Canadian?
I think so. Yeah. Well, he's from Quebec, so I don't know if that counts.
I'm just fucking with it. Go ahead. Yeah, I know who Guy Lafleur is. Anyway,
I always look at him and Nolan Ryan kind of the same because they were both way past their prime and they were still playing. Nolan Ryan played well into it, but I remember both of them in the early 90s. They were both kind of just around, and it was cool to be able to see those guys play because it wasn't something that I don't know. It was cool. Guy Lafleur, I think he had bills he had to pay, but Nolan Ryan just played because he could fucking still
Love
throw
it.
heat.
Yeah, you wanted to do it. I don't know. So I don't know hockey at all. I know that name.
Sure.
I think who's your football equivalent for that to me is Bruce Smith. He was drafted in '87 and he played until he played into the 2000s. I know that. I think he played 20 years as a defensive end, which is wild. And
Are we talking NFL or CFL?
Yeah, NFL. What?
Okay. You said Canadian equivalent. I just when you say Canadian,
did I? I meant to say football equivalent.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my bad.
Remember Doug Flutie?
Of course.
Yeah, he was up here in the CFL for a few years
for the Bills. They never should have benched Doug Flutie. We probably would have went to the Super Bowl that year.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered. I'm sorry.
I'm out of here.
4 years in a row.
I'm out of here.
Oh my God.
I'm out. See ya.
I know. Well,
hey,
guys,
I'm immune to it. I'm immune to it.
Bo Jackson.
Yeah, I got a friend that's a massive Bo Jackson fan, huge Raiders fan, and a Royals fan. This guy, so it makes sense, right? I don't have much of a recollection of Bo Jackson. Like,
really?
Nah. You know what it is? Broke as shit. Broadcast TV, 3 channels.
Sure.
Like, when are you watching anything? Like, I got to watch the Bills most of the time, unless they were blacked out, which wasn't often, so that's good. But except the Houston, and if the greatest comeback of all time in the playoffs, that game was blacked out where I lived. But I watched it on a 12-inch screen in the mall. I don't know how that guy had it, but at a drugstore in the mall where my mom wanted to go shopping, and I was like, fucking Bills playoffs game. Are you insane? And then we went shopping because my mom called the shots, and it was on at a Phase Drugs. So I was like, I watched it with like 19 other people on a 12-inch screen with rabbit ears and tinfoil. Yeah, it was cool. That was cool. Like, it would have been better to watch it on a good TV, kind of, but the memory is great, But I don't remember what I was going with that. Give me a whole lot of this where I go, I don't fucking remember.
Whatever. You know what? So we had so you guys had ESPN, of course. We had TSN. Well, not you, but I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
When I say you guys, I just mean everybody south of the Canadian.
The United
border.
States.
Yeah, the states, as we call them.
Yankees.
Yankees. Yeah, we call everybody Yankees. As soon as you go, we had TSN, the sports network, which is like ESPN.
Yeah.
But they had Sports Desk until ESPN, bought them and called it
That's
Sports
the hockey guy with the hair, yeah?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. They were all in. So every morning I would get up and watch it, and I watched so many highlights. I remember, Bo Jackson breaking the bat over his knee, and of course Nolan Ryan beating up Robin Ventura, and I loved it. Yeah, I was a sports guy so bad. I would watch the Winter Olympics, the Summer Olympics, fucking rugby, Aussie rules football. I'd watch goddamn cricket and didn't have a sweet clue what was going on.
Nice.
Strongman competitions, whatever I could get.
Sports weren't big in my house. I want to say there was a super chat there. I don't know if you saw it.
I wanted to shout him out. Thank you, Desert Ranger. You're crazy. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Words. Oh, sports, like, it wasn't big. It was big in my house was history and war,
Okay.
So like there wasn't a lot of sports in my house in general. I was into sports. I had friends, obviously, that were into it. So like the problem I had watching if there was sports on, I did see the Nolan Ryan Robin Ventura thing.
Right.
Just like by the stroke of luck. Because I was the youngest. My brother's 10 years older than me. My dad is obviously, like 36 years older than me, right? And it's his fucking house. So like, and rabbit ears and 3 channels. So like every night it was like MASH, or like Lonesome Dove or some shit. So like
Bonanza?
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know because I hated all of it. So I never get to see anything. When I was real little, it was just like all this shit is in the way of the Muppet Show. That's how I looked at it.
Love the fucking Muppet Show.
I think MASH was right before the Muppet Show, so I grew up fucking hating MASH, right? Because it was on right ahead of I had to sit through an hour. It's an hour.
It was goddamn boring as a kid.
It was fucking awful. I don't care how much Radar put a dress on and made you try to laugh. It wasn't funny to you if you were, 6.
No,
so
not at all.
Are you my age? I'm 44.
I'm 42. So we're basically this. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you're a fucking millennial. So anyway, anyways, I'm a Xennial. I don't know these words.
I grew up as a goddamn Gen X.
I feel like you're right in that slot. Yeah. there's that weird sweet spot slot, which actually I think is the best place to be because we were around enough to exploit no internet and basically no video games except for Atari, right?
Yep.
And then Nintendo, or Nintendo as the old folks called it then. And then all of a sudden there's computers, right? And if you had a computer in your house, you get to remember when your friends on the bus would go, "You have the internet at your house?" And I'd go, "Yeah, the whole fucking thing." Like every time, because they didn't understand what it was. It's like now with Bitcoin or something. Like people don't know what it is, you know.
My grandfather, I went to visit him one time, and he goes, "Do you hear they're building a new road?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Some new highway." And I said, I don't know, Gramps. He said, "This information highway or something." I'm like, oh. But you know what? I'm going to digress and tell you a fun story for a second. We went to McDonald's. Well, my dad took him to McDonald's one time. He was getting up in there in age, but he wasn't senile. He was just simple some days. And dad said, "You got to go to the bathroom, Gramps?" "Oh yeah, I think I will." So he was gone fucking 15 minutes. He finally comes back and Dad said, "What took you so long?" He goes, "God," he said, "it was the darkest bathroom I ever been in and the highest fucking urinal you'll ever see." And Dad said, "What the hell's going on?" So he says, "You got to show me this bathroom." He takes him over. He went in the janitor's closet, pissed in the janitor's sink with the light turned off.
That's great.
Oh, that's Gramps.
Janitor's sink.
Yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, but that was just Gramps. You know, he's a good man. I miss him.
I like it.
Yeah,
a real pro pees in the bathroom sink while he brushes his teeth. Save water.
Well, that could be.
I stole that from Corolla. That's a Corolla joke.
That's a good one.
I like that idea. No, I don't. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I could go into some bad urine jokes. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody wants to hear that. Somebody mentioned like the sports we watched, the ones we played. Yes, that's kind of where I was going, was like we played a shitload of football. We had a huge side yard wide open, right? So there's a lot of baseball, softball, football going on out there, and a lot of yard darts and
whole lawn darts. Yes.
Awesome. So they were left over from like the 70s at my house. It was fantastic. We had two games. I can get into yard darts in a second. The second one is much fucking scarier. So we played the regular yard darts game. Everybody knows. Throw it up in the air and run, right? We did that with a bow. A lot.
Like, wait, you mean
like a fucking compound bow?
And you would you put the yard darts in it, or you would use
like an arrow?
Oh my God.
Fire it up in the air and run. We were insane. So we did the yard darts all the time. You'd stand in the middle. We had this field. I want to say it's 200 feet maybe by 80 or 100 feet, right? It's big. So from the road to the woods is about 80 or 100 feet. And from my parents' house to my neighbor's house is about 200 feet. We would play softball and baseball there. And for decades, my grandfather would say, if anybody can, because the neighbors, we liked them, but they're your neighbor.
Yeah.
You like them a lot, but sometimes you don't. So there was a window on the side of their garage. And my grandfather was always like, if anybody can fucking break that window, I'll give him $100 and pay for the window. That was his thing. No one ever did it, unfortunately.
Oh, that's awesome.
We tried like a bastard. We'd hit the side of their garage. And that's a long hit. It was like a 220 yard or foot. It had to be longer than that. Like it was a whack, especially with the softball. So, and we were like 9. So there's that. But anyway, we would stand in the middle of that field with the yard dart, and someone would throw it straight up and go run, and everybody would just run. And man, I'll tell you what, the reason these kids are fucking soft now is because they never have that feeling in their spine as they hightail it across the fucking field for basically no reason, because it could just come down on you no matter how fast you're running.
Sure, it didn't matter where you went.
And it'll fucking kill you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, probably. And no one ever got hit, so that's good. You got close. Very close. And when it hits the ground, it goes in like 70% of the way if the ground's wet. It's crazy. So then we upped our ante when we were like 13, maybe.
Okay.
And we would do crazy shit. We would use a bow and fucking fire an arrow into the and run. I think they did it in there's a Sandler movie or something where they did that.
Had to have been one of the early ones.
No, I think it's the one where they go on vacation with their families. And
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Grown Up.
Yeah. They do it in that movie and someone gets hit. It's great. I think they might have done it in both. I don't remember. We did that though, and it was nuts. Makes sense. I think Sandler went to Oswego State for like a half a minute. So, and he grew up right here. He grew up like a mile from here, where I am right now.
I love that dude. He is an underrated actor when he has the right role too. I can't think of the one right now. The awkward one that he did in early 2000s, where he owns a furniture store.
Is the one where he's saving the pudding cups?
Yeah, and he's got like a purple.
Love.
Yeah, it's been a lot of years. I see. That was just before I met Becky, and I was like this awkward fucking dude that had like negative luck with women, and so I really like. I seen myself in him. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah,
you know, like he was such an awkward fucker, man. But it was.
He does serious roles. It's great. What was the one? Rain on Me or something?
Yes. Yep.
That was excellent.
Hidden Gems or something gems.
Yeah.
He's
recently. Good. Really good. Yeah. And his comedies suck now.
Yeah, they're not great.
They're so bad. I was listening. Somebody was saying the other day on a podcast that basically he doesn't really give a shit about making comedies. He just wants to go on vacation and have it be paid for. So he like goes to Hawaii and makes the fucking movie, and it's terrible. But he's like, I went to Hawaii for this winter, so who gives a shit, or whatever.
I like hearing him talk about Chris Farley, because they talk about their whole group, and how that's what he does. He fucking has a movie which basically gives all his friends a job. And I've listened to him a few times talk about how he wishes Farley was still around, because, I love that dude, man. He was funny. He just, he just wanted to make people laugh all the time.
There's a lot of those. Well, I mean, it's like now norm,
Oh yes.
Oh fuck. Who's he? Oh, Hartman.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it wasn't his fault how he died, poor guy.
Oh, yeah. Didn't his wife kill him? Or is that the mission or something?
Yeah, I forget exactly. Yeah.
It's not official, but we all know it's true. That kind of thing.
Wasn't it like a shotgun or something? Or am I crazy? Or am I misremembering?
I think that Hartman's wife killed him just like Epstein didn't kill himself. I think it's like
fair.
That.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Sure.
Is that a demonetization statement?
I have no idea. I won't even put this one up. Yeah.
Because like Tim Pool would fucking be homeless by now if you said that and got demonetized. So, I don't remember where we were going with all this stuff. I mentioned before the show tropes, like stupid shit people say that drives me crazy. You want to get into this?
Yeah,
this is very important.
This is very important. Yes,
very important workshop subject. I love that these are all great workshops. I also we did talking about tools or maybe
you know what? It's just two tools talking, so we're good.
Right? So some of the things that drive me insane, the one we mentioned was when people say, my personal opinion. In
my personal opinion, because they're insecure about giving that. They're just trying to couch it in insecurity.
Yeah. Here's the thing. When you said my, and then anything you said after that, we knew it was your fucking opinion. We don't have to say opinion or personal. Just say what you said. You're saying it. We knew it was your opinion because it's you talking. It's not like it's someone else saying it and they go, Joe's personal opinion. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't need personally. Anyway, these are the kind of things that drive me. Like extra words annoy the shit out of me. I don't know if it's an efficiency thing. Or
it goes back to being safe though. Because, people are going to get tired of me talking about this, but I just finished a few days ago, Atlas Shrugged. And have you ever read it?
Nope. I don't.
Oh, fuck. You need to. Oh, well, I listen. I don't read.
I'm kidding. I can read.
Yeah.
I just put this thing out. I don't know what the fuck it says.
So
I have it on audiobook and I've never listened to it.
Everybody in there is all about being safe. And they just use 1,000 words to say almost nothing because they figure if they just keep throwing words at you, eventually you'll just agree with them and move on.
Yeah, and maybe.
That's what happens now.
It's the cop. It's like, let me just ask you to go ahead here and let me just ask you to do. Just ask me, dude. You don't have to fucking.
Just fucking say it.
I was thinking in my head is one that always drove me insane because we know you were thinking. Where the fuck else were you thinking? Like, right? I was thinking in my left ankle about this thing. No, dude. We know you were thinking in you just say your stupid thought. Like it's probably shitty. Just say it. I'm sorry. I'm too negative.
Dude, you don't stop.
You want to be less
Canadian. You don't need to apologize.
I'm not Canadian.
I know, but you sound like you're Canadian. I'm sorry. You know.
I was a 40-mile swim away from being Canadian that my ancestors made before I was born.
They made the right choice.
Yeah. Completely different.
Completely
I
different.
know that's a Monty Python one, but it's like, it's different. What's
Sure.
the difference between it's different and completely different? Right? I mean, and maybe that one's weak.
No, it's all right.
Because I guess it can be slightly similar, right? So completely different would be,
I don't know,
right?
similar. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. How about in this present time, when someone says that to you,
Ugh.
in this present time or something?
That's just
We
word
know
salad.
that's obvious. Yeah, right. That it's already going on. Or when someone says, now this word is obviously, this will resonate with the audience because it's so overused. I literally shit myself.
Oh,
Wow, really?
I catch myself doing that and I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed to use the word literally.
Yeah, I try to stop myself and make sure, like, not stop myself, like, you know, if your brain works fast enough, right?
Yeah.
If you tuned your shit in, you can
Cut those words
in
out.
the moment, ask yourself before the words exit your mouth, is that literal? And maybe stop it. And I'm okay at it now. You have to teach
Literally, to me, literally is the modern equivalent of like for Valley Girl. It's almost that bad.
Yeah.
It's literally that bad.
100%. 100%. There's another one that's fucking getting annoying, and I say it a lot.
Inflammable.
Yeah, there's some of those words, man. There used to be massive arguments in restaurants over some of those words that are like the prefix of the
They
word
mean the
is
same and
debatable.
opposite.
What's that?
They mean the same and the opposite. Flammable and inflammable. They shouldn't mean the same thing, but they do.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Oh, that's a new one. I like it. That's a new one. How about global pandemic?
Oh, well, because pandemic fucking implies global to begin with.
Irregardless, that's the one. Irregardless. Thank you, Dixon Way. Again, thank you, Dixon Way. Irregardless. Massive debates in my life between people over whether or not it's irregardless or regardless. I don't even know the answer anymore. It's been that many debates.
I believe irregardless is not actually a word.
I think that's wrong, right? Yeah, that's not a word.
Irregardless, we're not going to use it. So
back to the nitpicking ones. Very unique. Fucking drives me crazy because unique is already unique. We don't need to be very unique. And it's usually a douchebag describing another douchebag when they say, Sally's very unique. You know, like, oh, okay, we get it. She has a fucking bull thing in her nose, okay, and purple hair. Like, calm down. We understand she'll never have a real job and she'll live in her mommy's basement forever. She doesn't need to be very unique to do that. She just needs to be unique.
Yes. I like unique with quotation marks around it because that usually...
when people start a sentence out with I personally, that's probably my most hated one.
That's soft language. That's what that is. Again, it's
because
there's a lawyer. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we knew it was you. You're fucking saying it. What? It's like the opinion thing. Yeah, like stop it. This used to drive me like I had a lot of I managed a lot of people in restaurants and they would go on to other shit, obviously. And they would ask me to give them a reference and they would always call me up and go, hey, I have this interview. And if it was a real job, I would go, look, I have two things that you need to drill it into your head while you're interviewing and they ask you a question. Don't ever say, I think or I feel. Ever. Right. It's because fuck that. Convey confidence and power.
100%.
Okay? I think and I feel is weak sauce. You know, like knock it off. Because if you're like, you know, so well, how are you going to handle a difficult employee? Well, you know, I feel like those employees, gross. Just say, this is how I handle it. You know, like what the hell? And I got that out of my lexicon in that world. I might do it again now for all I know. Long ago with interviews and whatnot, especially. And anytime I was talking to someone above me at work, I never said I think or I feel ever. Because and you find that people will listen to whatever the fuck you're saying. You know, if you just like state it like it's a fact, even if you don't know if it's a fact, just state it like it's a fact.
It's the whole thing. If you wear a reflective vest and you have a clipboard, you can go anywhere you fucking want.
Yeah.
Because you convey authority. Yeah. That's all it is. Go ahead.
But my number, I know I said I had my number one.
Sure.
But what started all this for me, and it goes way back, is, and it's going to be, let me make sure I describe this correctly. So let's go back to sports.
In a picture for us. I like that.
Okay, we're going back to sports. We're going to go back to Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan just 2 weeks ago, he threw his latest no-hitter, and now it's the offseason, right? And Nolan Ryan maybe is a free agent at this point or something, or maybe he's leaving the Astros or whatever, right? Wherever he went after that. And you got this douchebag sports announcer on ESPN that's talking about teams and them getting pitchers, right? And he's talking about the Texas Rangers. And he will say, when you get a Nolan Ryan, blah, blah, blah. Okay, dumbass. It's not Nolan Ryan. You're talking about fucking Nolan Ryan. You don't have to say Nolan Ryan because it's the dude. You're talking about the guy, right? Now, if you're talking about if you do this in your sports announcer and you go, well, if you can get a pitcher like a Nolan Ryan, that's correct, right? But they do it. It happens not. Watch ESPN for 35 seconds. You'll hear it 48 times, right? And it's like, it drives me insane. I know it's just me being a nitpicky douchebag, right? No. But it fucking drives me insane because all it does, like, I listen to a lot of Bills Talk Radio on podcast form, right? And there's like guys that I think are pretty smart in general, right? That do some stuff on there and they'll fucking do it. And the minute they do it, I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. Because like, it's not an item or something. It's not an object. It's the guy, right? And you're not comparing other guys to a guy, which is when it would be okay. You know, if you're describing a type of guy, then it's okay, right? If you're like, you know, he's a quarterback like a Brett Favre kind of guy, you know, or whatever, then you're okay doing that kind of thing, right? But if you're talking about the guy, like, don't fucking say, sorry, I'm okay.
That's okay.
I'm glad I get this out in public. It's in the lexicon, or it's in the ether now. That's the ether, right? Yeah. But
in grade 8, I had an English teacher. His name was Mr. Olson. He said, I'm going to tell you guys something today that you'll never forget for the rest of your life. And I thought, okay. And he said, for free means for nothing. He goes, you do not need to use the word for in front of free. Because if you said you got something free, it means you got it for nothing. And if you say, I got something for free, it means you got it for nothing.
Yeah.
And of course, that damn thing is stuck with me for the rest of my life.
I like that. And I didn't know that. And I don't know. I'm sure I've said I got it for free.
Oh, we all do. Sure. But I've never, every time I've heard it since, I've thought of Mr. Olson in grade 8 English.
I want to make sure I'm not wrong before I say this next thing.
Oh, whatever.
Look it up over here on the other screen. No, like, so I was told a long time ago by somebody, okay, I was right. It's right. Okay. I'll just say it. So, because I was a saute cook for years and whatever, Northern Italian foods from scratch. It was really good. Shrimp scampi just means shrimp.
So scampi means shrimp?
Yeah, in Italian, I guess. I think I'm right about that. Scampi means shrimp. So it's just fucking shrimp.
Sure.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's all. So, like,
I should have. There's so many fucking words right now that I hear all the time that are overused. I should have made a list of those because there are just so many.
I should have given you a warning. Sorry.
No.
I was trying to write some shit down. Want to hear a joke?
Yes, I do. You said you had the best joke ever.
The best joke ever. I'm still working on it.
That's fine.
There's some contradictory shit. All right. There's this guy. It's not my joke. I just know this joke, so it's not. I'm not working on it. That's all a fucking lie. So there's this guy, and he's going to build an outdoor fireplace. Okay, and he gets all the plans together, and he's going to make it out of bricks, the red bricks. Yep. And he needs 186 bricks. I don't know if that's a realistic number, but it doesn't matter. So he's like, I'm going to drive down to the hardware store. I'm going to buy 186 bricks. Now I don't have a lot of storage space at my house. And I have no use for bricks otherwise. So I want an exact amount of bricks, right? So he drives down to the hardware store and he goes, I need red bricks. I need 186 red bricks. And the guy that owns the hardware store, we'll call him Phil. He's like, hey, man, I've got 187 bricks here. And now they're $1 each. So it'd be 186 bucks. But if you take all 187, I'll give them to you for $100 just because I don't want extra bricks kicking around the shop. And the guy's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'll figure something out. Maybe one will break, you know, maybe one will fall off the truck, whatever. I'll have one extra. So he drives back to his house and he starts building his fireplace. and he's got his mortar going, whatever. And he's building this beautiful outdoor fireplace. And he gets down to the very end and he places the last brick. And then he looks over. He's got one brick left. And he says, fuck, do I do with this brick? So he fucking throws it up in the air. It's not, it needs work.
Did I miss it?
He throws it in the air. That's not funny.
Right. Well, did I
what,
miss
you got a better joke? Go ahead.
What happens when it comes down? Did I miss it?
I don't know. That's the joke. That's the whole joke. That's it. That's the end. It's just maybe it needs work.
That's a Norm Macdonald joke. That is.
If everybody in the comments thinks that joke needs work, say yes, please. You got a joke?
I can't tell my jokes. I won't put
that, Tim.
What's that?
Top that joke, Tim.
Oh my God. I can't tell my good jokes. I can't tell. I would tell them to you off air. Let's put it that way. So.
That was a bad joke. I'm sorry, folks.
No, that was good.
You want to hear another one? I got a better one.
Does this one have a real punchline? You're fucking Norm Macdonald me again. Go ahead.
It's possible. All right. Someone said it's an AI joke. Nobody liked it. I'm not very confident right now in the second joke, so I have to rebuild my confidence. All right. So I feel like I'm bombing on stage right now. This is bad.
Do you want me to tell a joke while you're working on it?
No. Yeah, you got one?
I do. I think I can get away with this one.
Do it. I like it.
All right.
I'll think about mine.
In Canada, you know where Newfoundland is, right? Or have you heard of Newfoundland before?
Yeah, they have dogs.
Yeah. So we every year they have the Newfoundland hammer throwing contest, and it's a big deal. So the media, they show up every year to cover it, and so the first guy steps up, and he is from Quebec, and he throws the hammer, and it goes 3 times as far as the world record. The media comes in, they said, "Holy shit! How did you come up with this?" And he said, "Well, let me tell you. My grandfather was a lumberjack. My dad was a lumberjack, and I'm a lumberjack too. And that's where I got my strength to throw the hammer." Okay, no problem. So then Nova Scotian, he steps up. He throws the hammer, goes twice as fucking far as the guy from Quebec. And they're blown away. They've never seen 2 records once. So the media steps up. They said, "Sir," he says, how did you throw it so far?" Simple. He said, "Me grandfather was a lobster fisherman. Me father was a lobster fisherman, and I'm a lobster fisherman too. That's where I got my strength to throw the hammer." So, the Newfoundlander, he steps up and he picks that hammer up and he fucking throws it 10 times further than both of them combined. And they're just blown away. They're live streaming this whole thing. They step up to the Newfie and they said, "Sir, how in the world did you throw that hammer so far?" He goes, "Well, let me tell you, bye." He says, "Me grandfather was on welfare. Me father was on welfare. And when I seen the hammer, I thought it'd have to do me some work."
I like it. That's good. Is that picking on people from Newfoundland? Is that
Yeah,
what's
we
going
do.
on here?
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's going to get me, and
somebody's mad now.
Yeah, no, it'll be good.
So. Well, that's like the Rochambeau jokes. So, All right, I got a better joke. Here we go. Oh, thanks, Dixon Way.
Yes, thanks, Dixon.
You should thank him.
They love you.
All right. Here we go. Thanks for that fill-in. Thanks for that for me. That break. So now I can have my confidence back. All right.
No worries.
So a guy gets on an airplane. This is way back. All right. When you could smoke. And he's smoking a big fucking stogie, right? Huge. Ooh, puffing away. Big top hat, And then a woman gets on with a little dog. Okay. And she sits next to him. And the dog's barking and barking and barking, like little dogs do.
Yep.
The worst. And he's smoking his cigar and the dog's barking. And he looks over at her and he goes, "Hey, I don't know if I can listen to that dog bark this whole plane ride." And she's like, "Well, I don't know if I can smell this cigar this whole plane ride. I hate the smell of cigars. My ex-husband smoked cigars. I divorced him over cigars." And he's like, "Oh, lucky man then." Anyway, so then they take off. They're flying, right? And the dog's barking and the guy's smoking. And the dog's barking and the guy's smoking, right? It's just going on and on and on. And the dog won't shut the fuck up. And the guy just keeps relighting his cigar every time he goes out. So she's like, "Look, this is ridiculous. The whole cabin is full of smoke from the cigar. All right. I can barely breathe. I can't even see. There's so much cigar smoke in this cabin. And he goes, look, lady, it's not against the rules. And the worst part about this flight isn't my cigar. It's your goddamn yappy dog. If you could shut your dog up, that'd be great. And so now they're both like, like really mad, and they're just looking forward, and the plane's flying, right? And they're about halfway through the flight now. So a little bit of time goes by, and a drink cart goes, meandering through the smoke, and the fucking dog's like knocking drinks over and whatever. And then finally the guy's like, I've had it. And he looks at the lady and he goes, look, if you don't shut your fucking dog up, I'm going to throw it out the window. And she goes, if you throw my dog out the window, I'm taking that cigar out of your mouth and I'm throwing that cigar out the window. And he's like, you can't do that. And she's like, well, you can't throw my dog out. And now they're really fucking mad and they're flying, right? Okay. 10 minutes goes by. He goes, that's it. He fucking grabs the dog. He rolls the window of the plane down and he throws the fucking dog out the window. All right. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you just threw my dog out. She snatches the fucking cigar out of his mouth and throws the cigar out the window. They roll the window of the plane up and they go about their business, really emotionally angry now, right? 5-10 minutes goes by. The guy looks out the window and there's the dog on the wing of the plane. What's in his mouth?
Fucking cigar.
The brick from the first joke.
You asshole.
I love that fucking joke. And I've always wanted to get it on camera. I did it one day. I was starting to tell you this before the show. I did that joke on camera alone in here one day, and my audio was echoing. And I couldn't fix it. And I was like, I'm never doing it again. And tonight I was talking to my wife and I go, I'm doing the fucking brick joke tonight on Tim's show so I can have it recorded.
You made my night. Oh my fucking God.
Isn't that beautiful?
Perfect. Well, the whole fucking setup was beautiful.